It's a little bit drizzly this morning, but I managed to get a good night's sleep. I managed to get about 10 hours last night, so just to get that extra bit further. I got up to a full cooked English breakfast this morning at 7 AM, which is going to fuel me through the day on this hike. And this was the first time that I'd actually experienced quite heavy fog, which at first I thought was just misty rain. It seems to be pretty foggy up here, which is a bit of a worry because it's quite dangerous to hike in any type of fog. There wasn't any predicted fog today, but it happens. I've been sat on Hastings Pier having a nice pint and all of a sudden fog will just appear for about 20 to 40 minutes. It just comes and goes, so hopefully it blows over. I mean, I'm following all trails on this route this week. It's really well signed as well. I mean, every time I go to look at my phone to make sure I'm on the right path, I look up ahead and there's a sign, so they're kind of in time with when you kind of panic and go, I better check to see where I am, you know. I've only sort of come off and got lost once in the 3 days that I've been hiking so far. Kind of reminds me when I went to Ireland and the only day I had to hike, I was painting a mural the rest of the time I was there. It was like this. It was really foggy and I was like, I really want to do a hike, so I'm going off into the hills. But then you've got the happy birds of the woods all singing. I love walking, but I also love film and taking pictures and documenting stuff. And you know, if you were into film and you needed to get that like horror scene or you know whatever, you'd have to hike up here in this types of weather to get these kind of views. Totally fogged over now. Look, can't even see through that tunnel now. I managed to get one of these Kendall mint bars. I hear nothing but talk. People come into their shop all the time and they're like, oh, have you got that? And we're like, what is that? Kendall mint bar. Specifically for people wanting to go hiking. I mean, it says it's white chocolate, but it looks like white stone. Oh my god. I did a Croydon to a Thames hike a week ago actually. 18 miles. And I stopped off at Earlsfield to go toilet at the end before getting the bus back to, well, Wimbledon and then changing. And I went into the hiking shop that they had there and they had this in there. And I was like, oh, they got that Kendall mint cake that everyone always talks about and I've never seen and I don't know what it is. But if you like mint chocolate or you're just a massive fan of mint, which is what I am, this will get me to Brighton. This is really good. Yeah, that couldn't have come at a better time because despite the great breakfast that I had this morning, I was definitely feeling a little bit lethargic. So we have another short walk ahead of us again today, somewhere between 12 and 15 miles up to Devil's Dyke in Brighton. I'll come off the stone. It wasn't muddy, but it was really stony and my feet had just had enough. I came off the stone and onto the grass and was like, oh, that feels a little bit better on my feet. but you know, the grass was soaking wet, and obviously walking for hours on the grass, or as much as I could do on the grass yesterday, meant that the tall grass just completely soaked my feet. So I was lucky yesterday in the place that I stayed because they had a heated radiator, so I kept my shoes on for about 4 or 5 hours and it dried them completely out. It's less foggier down this bit here. I'll take a short break here, I think. There's not really much to sit on, which is a shame. But I'll take a short break and a snack before heading up to the next hill, which is another 665 foot high, but we're coming at it from a 400, so we've only got about 250 feet to climb. Yellow fields that we crossed earlier on, and we've dipped down about 250 foot just to come up again 250 foot. Finally made it to the top of Janterbury Ring. And for the second time we get another glimpse there of the seafront, which is down over in Worthing. Janterbury Ring is famous for its ring of beech trees, and it's known to be one of the most haunted places in the South Downs. And weirdly, this was the first place my camera started to have issues, and I had to stop once I got to these trees to check the settings. Just come over this hill here, and I can see Brighton in sight there. It's literally just down there, look. Well, it seems I made it out alive off the top of that hill, and off I go down into the next section. Well, it did make me wonder when I saw this sign to a field that held no pigs on it, but then as I walked about 10 minutes further down the field, I spotted all these little piglets, and it was the most adorable thing ever, especially when they all come running over. Hello. I was quite impressed with how close you could get to them, because they were literally just penned in by a small thin wire that went across the whole field. Yeah, you're coming back now. Look at them, I love the way they run back. That is absolutely adorable. Bye bye. Well, it was getting on for midday, and it looks like all the animals are out at lunch, including the birds that were peckering off the backs of all the pigs. like this little pig had come running over to whisper something in his ear. Seeing all these animals definitely made the grey walk today much more enjoyable, and I just absolutely love the way the path cut straight through the pigsty. And I have now reached the River Ada that flows down to Shoreham by Sea. So I've reached about 10 miles at this point, and I've only got about 4 or 5 more to go now. I mean, this is a little bit of a sigh of relief. Look, 4.5 miles to Devil's Dyke and only 40 to Eastbourne from this point. So we must have hit the 60 mile spot just here. It's 40 to Eastbourne. Connected by the one that we just crossed, that bridge, and there's a Hogwarts style house on that hill. The fog's cleared, it's stunning, despite the fact that I haven't eaten a single thing fuel wise since 7:30 this morning. I've had obviously my protein bars and a bit of fruit. I've had the tunes on again today. Yeah, between Amberley and this point I was starting to get pretty hungry, but as I said a few days ago, not everything's open, like the little kiosks and that are all shut. So I didn't prepare today, I didn't have lunch packed, and I was starting to get pretty hungry at this point. Got some spectacular views now. There's a number of YHAs along the whole route of the Southdowns, but that's the first one I've actually seen in person or noticed, and I'm glad I did, because I had a cafe that was open and the lady gave me some barbecue chicken wings and a really nice thick cheese toasty and tomato chutney. But yeah, to Devil's Dyke, 3 miles, where I'll be coming off for the day, so I don't want to leave it too late now. It was only 4 o'clock, and by the time I get to Devil's Dyke it's going to be like 5 o'clock, and then I get a taxi down to Hove, and I get to my mates hopefully around 7ish. The YHA hostels are scattered all over the South Downs, but they don't always sit on the South Downs Way trail, and as I said, that was the first one I saw, and it was an absolute blessing because I was starving at that point. It just gave me enough energy just to get through this last few miles towards the end. It's the first time I've seen a bit of blue sky in the last 2 days. That ahead of us is the Devil's Dyke and all the hills rolling over to Ditch and Beacon, which we will be touching on tomorrow, but I am really pleased that I have made it to this point. This section here gives a good visual indication of how many hills you have to climb. Last toilet break of the day before I ascend up to the Devil's Dyke Hotel, where I'll be catching a taxi down to Hove Station and jumping on the train back to Worthing.
So I will catch you guys on the next one.